sort of, to the whole thing, this was kind of, the reaction was just crazy on their part. And I wanted to pull this clip from Newsmax with them reacting to being called weird now by the Democrats. And they were not happy about it.
Weird. Everything about, again, Vance is weird.
Oh, whoops.
Weird. Everything about, again, Vance is weird. Does Vance actually have a problem? And then how about the campaigning using that term weird for Republicans?
Democrats are finally going on messaging.
So, I'm pulling this from Pondering Politics, but yeah, he's got a, I mean, it's just, they're just, like, really upset about this. Here's Jen Psaki talking about it on
These guys
MSNBC.
are just plain weird.
You know there's something wrong with people when they talk about freedom to be in your bedroom, freedom to be in your exam room, freedom to tell your kids what they can read. That stuff is weird. They come across weird. They seem obsessed with this.
We're using this fake living room to talk to you about a super weird idea from JD Vance.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's quite weird.
But what was weird was him joking about racism today and then talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
On the other side, they're just weird. I mean, they really are.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
So, they're right. I mean, it's just weird shit with everything with them. You know, their candidate, go ahead.
Weird.
What?
I said it is super weird, and it's super funny to me that they're so by they I mean the right, they're so offended by the word weird.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you, Duncan. If the worst thing in the world, like my students started calling me, was weird, oh man, that teacher Inger, she's super weird, I guess I'd be like, well, yeah, all right. You know, like, I feel like I wouldn't be super offended by it. I'd kind of shrug my shoulders up about it and move it. But the fact that they're so offended by being called weird, to me, what it sounds like is, you know, when somebody sort of gently calls you out, like they're not like really even full on calling you out, but they just, they kind of, you know, just sort of make some sort of like comment at you, and then you're suddenly like, what? And you get super defensive about it. It's because you really feel like you're being seen for something that you really are thinking, doing, saying, right?
Right. Well, it's something you don't want people to think about you.
Right. Because if somebody's sort of like gently calling you out like that just by making one of those like silly little comments, if you really aren't doing anything, you're kind of just like shrug, whatever, maybe flip some shit back and call it a day, keep it moving.
Right.
Like really off of a pretty mild comment like that, getting in an uproar, it's because you know you just got seen doing or saying or thinking something wildly inappropriate.
Absolutely, but everybody's got a little bit of something that's weird for the most part, right? The difference is that most people just own it and they don't care. Like,
and they talk kind of.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like I like to play the ocarina and I make ocarinas for fun. And it's not like it's a popular thing. It's pretty nerdy. I get it. But I don't like when people are like, that's really dorky. I'm like, yeah, kind of. But
yeah.
Yeah, but I enjoy it and a lot of other people seem to enjoy it. So, you know, we're not hurting anybody. It's fine, right? You know, but that's the thing is it's one thing to just go, yeah, okay. I guess that is a little unusual or odd or weird or whatever, right? But to sit there and get defensive about it and angry just shows a bigger problem here. And a lot of it's just people that tend to be conservative or fascist because their whole ideology is still wrapped up in hierarchy, right? That there's some in-group and some out-group. So you have to be accepted by the in-group. Well, if people are calling you weird, it means you're not being accepted. And I think that's what freaks them out, is they think that they are cool and popular and they're being accepted because in their little bubble they are. But then they don't realize outside their bubble, the rest of the world, the majority of people sit there and go, this is just weird. It's just culty kind of shit. And and that's why they're getting angry and defensive. No, you're weird. Right? That's the whole deal. So we'll watch a little bit more of this clip from Newsmax because it's just crazy shit. Let's see. some weirdness today on the
offense.
Using that term weird, by the way, we continue to point that out. Kamala HQ, that's her campaign on X, just put out 3 minutes ago a quote from JD Vance of him saying, "I certainly would like abortion to be illegal nationally," unquote, from JD Vance. They quoted him on that, the Harris campaign, and calling it, "This is weird behavior." Weird, weird, weird. Everything about, again, Vance is weird. Does Vance actually have a problem? And then how about the campaigning using that term weird for Republicans? Using that term weird by...
Yeah, I should say so. I do think they, in fact, have a weirdness problem.
And he's right, they do. And the thing about it is the abortion thing, for example, that's going to be a big ticket issue. And it still is, because right now just saying abortion should be illegal, I mean, if you have a miscarriage, like 1 in 4 pregnancies is a miscarriage, or an ectopic pregnancy or something like that. A lot of these women are suffering or going right up close to almost dying before they can get an abortion, when this could have just been handled by mifepristone, like a drug. You know, here's a couple pills, this way you won't get sick and die. As opposed to, no, you can't do that. You got to wait till she's almost dead. Then it has to be some sort of horrible invasive procedure that makes sure she can never have children again. And this has happened to tens of thousands of women, hundreds of thousands of women probably at this point. It'll be millions by next year. And it's going to continue to happen. And they're saying, well, we want abortion to be illegal. And it's like, okay, JD Vance, you're a guy. Why do you give a shit? Right? You know, because it's a life and we got to save human life. And it's like, yeah, but then once they're born, you don't want to do anything for their education. You don't want to do anything for pre or postnatal care. You don't want to do anything for that. I mean,
you really basically just want to saddle a bunch of women with the responsibility of caring and raising these humans to adults, and force their hand at that, when for some women it is one of the most responsible choices. Let's even remove the idea momentarily of the woman's quality of life and literally just make it about these unborn humans, children, right? Yeah. So sometimes the most responsible choice for that woman to make, knowing she cannot see this whole thing through,
right,
is not to have a pregnancy happening, because she knows she can't afford to, or have the time to, or have the support or the resources to see this person through to adulthood safely.
Right.
That might be, even her quality of life aside, that really might be what would be in the best interest, not being able to, because the Republicans, you brought up a good point, they do not want to put any funding into any resources to support said life once it becomes life and is born into this world. They just want to make sure that while it's a thing that's percolating inside of a woman, that it becomes human and gets born. Once it's born, they're like, all right, we're out. It's your problem now. You shouldn't have done this, right? But
right.
They're requiring you. That doesn't make any sense, and that is weird.
Well, it is weird too, because the other weird thing about it is where are they getting this from? A lot of it's from religion, but it's like, okay, so a lot of Christians are like, well, it's a life and a God ordained it to be a life sort of thing, and it's like, well, first off, how do you know what God wanted? Assuming there's a God, right? How do you know? I mean, you're making a bunch of assumptions here. And the other thing about it is, if you're going by the Bible, the God orders abortion, like several times in the Bible. Jesus never says anything about it. So it's like, where are you getting this shit from? They're just making it up.
Well, if you're going to be the party, so what makes me crazy, and it is super weird, is their ideology is not aligning with itself.
Right.
If you are going to be the party that says that a pregnancy needs to become a born human being, you also need to be the party that prioritizes seeing that human all the way through to adulthood,
right,
safely, giving the resources for that to happen. If you are the party that says it's important that every potential life becomes a life and becomes born, you have to also align to being the party that says we're going to fund and put the resources
take care of them.
It is okay.
Right. Right.
You it's super weird to say I'm the party that says that all of these must become human life, and also be the party saying you're completely on your own with supporting that life,
Yeah.
even though we give choices about it.
Yeah.
Like that is so misaligned, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
And it's nice I called out about how freaking strange some of this stuff is, because it's totally out of alignment with itself.
Well, but it is consistent in the sense that it really comes down to they just don't want you having sex, premarital sex. Sex should only be for procreation. That's what they were saying on the weird creepy guy video, right? Your genitals are only for procreation.
Let's also bring it a step further. It's also about keeping women down.
Yes.
Because quite frankly, okay, fine, a bunch of men still maybe gonna run around and do whatever they want for fun. No offense, but y'all aren't the one holding the bag, are you?
Yeah. Well, the other thing...
I get pregnant tomorrow, and there's another human that would be involved in me having become pregnant. I can't do it by myself, right? But magically, that person could just completely disappear, and I'd be left holding the bag.
Right.
So it really is all about keeping women in a certain place.
Right. I mean, you'd sue for child support and all that stuff, but I guess if they really wanted to just vanish, they could, I suppose.
They can, and they
do.
Not all, but plenty do.
Yeah. But no, it's the whole thing is creepy stuff. But here was the guy who started it. He's from Wisconsin. I just wanted to play this clip real quick of him.
It isn't much else. Don't give them the power. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes. They're going to do all that. But don't lift these guys up like they're sometimes the heroes. Everybody in this room knows, I know it as a teacher, a bully has no self-confidence. A bully has no strength. They have nothing. The fascists depend on fear. The fascists depend on us going back. But we're not afraid of weird people. We're a little bit creeped out, but we're not afraid. But look, and then as you heard this, and one day ago, a poll came out and showed Kamala Harris up 10 points and Donald Trump getting his ass handed to him here in Minnesota. So, sorry.
He's just so good. He is so...
Yeah, sorry, he's Minnesota, not Wisconsin, my bad. But yeah, he nailed that.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, he's also on the short list for VP pick for Kamala, so I don't know, he's not that bad. I think he'd be a good pick, but we'll see.